So I made a video a little earlier tonight. It ended up being 30 minutes long. I decided, I'm going to make a shorter one. And also it got off topic. Topic of this video, however you want to imagine this video, is the difference, the fundamental difference. Well, there's a couple, but I'll talk about one fundamental difference between United States and Western Europe and Western nations and Belarus and Russia. Now, I'll start with one that was not the intent of this video. That they've stuck, well, I guess it's actually related to the other one. They've stuck to normal society. They haven't got all screwed up. People aren't all socially awkward. I mean, it is happening, just not nearly as much as in the West. And people realize, man plus woman make family. You go to work. Normal stuff to function. However, another really big difference is that Belarus and Russia are not suicidal. The West is. It's not so much that the good people in the West, want their countries to destroy themselves, but Western countries have been taken over by people that hate them and hate their own people. You may think that sounds crazy, but it actually happens throughout history to other countries. Soviet Union, for example, the precursor to modern-day Belarus and Russia, starved tens of millions of its own people to death. China did that. Lots of other nations killed their own people. Luckily, that hasn't happened yet in the Western world of the 21st century. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but also times change, methods of control change. But the bottom line is, right now, the Western nations are committing suicide. Whether it's from letting in, like the United States, letting in hundreds of thousands of immigrants every month, many of which are hardcore criminals. What I mean by hardcore is murderers, rapists, hardcore drug dealers, as in fentanyl, methamphetamine, not just a little bit of ganja, the stuff that kills people and destroys societies. You've got district attorneys, like in Los Angeles, for example, that just let anything go. You can walk into a store, take whatever you want, walk out, police aren't going to do a thing. Recently, some person decided to hit a woman holding a baby with his car. Didn't go to prison, didn't go to jail, because according to our district attorney, parole is an appropriate sentencing for his actions. So what does warrant jail and prison if running over a woman and her baby on purpose does not? I don't know. Running over 2 women and 2 babies, is that enough? I don't know. It's insanity. We're literally having our food processing plants and other food-related industries being destroyed constantly as I speak. They just magically light on fire, or planes crash into them, or this or that happens to them. But the bottom line is they're being systematically destroyed. Our military has been systematically dismantled. Every aspect of our country is being destroyed intentionally. And the people up top use the little worker ants to help this. For example, the people up top weaponize the masses of people that have nothing better to do and don't focus on themselves and their own families, as in the people that identify as liberals, who are actually radical extremists, to go and terrorize cities. What I mean by terrorize is not go scream at people. I mean, they're attacking people, killing people, burning down buildings. It's a war zone. It was a war zone. Right now, luckily, it's a little bit calm. Still a general crime rate of places like Los Angeles, Seattle, cities on the East Coast, it's atrocious. Atrocious. Yeah, it's no laughing matter. And it looks like a dystopian future movie if you go there. You come to the capital city of Belarus or Russia, it doesn't look like a dystopian collapse of society movie. It looks like a normal, good place, and that's because it is. These countries look out for themselves. Now, you may be going, but Russia's evil. Russia attacked Ukraine. Guess what? I'm not going to discuss that, but I have one thing to say about that. Even if you think that Russia's evil and they attacked Ukraine, Russia is looking out for Russia. Isn't that a crazy notion that a country actually looks out for itself and wants to do its best for its own country? A Russian guy just messaged me. He's currently in Moscow. And he knew this also. I knew it before he said it to me, but he's telling me one time, we were talking about something, and he's the one that said, yeah, the difference between the West and Russia is Russia looks out for Russia and doesn't destroy itself. Meanwhile, the West does everything to destroy itself. Western Europe, too. They allow in all these Muslim terrorists who drive cars through people. I guess the person who hit the woman and baby in, I think it was Venice Beach, somewhere in LA near the beach. Maybe he got that idea from the Muslims who go to Europe and just plow through people. People complain about gun crime in the United States. What about car crime in Europe, where the Muslims just get in their car and just mow down everybody? You know, sometimes they enjoy strapping explosives to themselves because that's real fun, you know. Yeah, not for me. It's a disaster. It's not safe in Western Europe in the cities. It's not safe in the United States in the cities. If you think what I'm saying is BS, just go to those cities. Yeah, probably you can go and walk down the street and not die your first time. Probably you can go and walk down the street and not die your second time. You do it enough, something bad's gonna happen. Guaranteed. It's just how it is. You can go to an active war zone and walk down the street, and you're going to be fine sometimes. My friend, who was in Kiev, and stayed quite a long time, until a ton of missiles were going by his house, and he decided, they're right outside the window, probably time to get going. But even when the stuff was going on in Kiev, he'd go outside and walk around, why not? He had nothing else to do, and he was fine. Doesn't mean it's safe. No, it just means that he happened to be fine. Just like I went to LA a year ago to do some paperwork. I walked down the street. I was fine. Didn't get killed, didn't get robbed, didn't get beat up. Doesn't mean it's safe. You come here to Belarus, you go to Russia, it's actually safe. Nobody's getting killed, nobody's getting robbed, nobody's getting beat up. There's not camps of homeless people. They're not allowing dangerous people from foreign countries to come in. They're not allowing domestic terrorists to terrorize people. Terrorize sounds a little too nice. Kill, attack people, and destroy properties. Yeah, that's not allowed here. It's allowed in the United States. It's allowed in Europe. I don't know much about Australia. Canada also seems like a disaster, but I don't know about all their crime and stuff. It's real simple. The Western world has been taken over by people that hate it. Belarus and Russia is controlled by people that love it. What do you think's a better situation? A country run by someone who hates that country? Or a country run by someone who loves that country? Now, of course, in the United States and Western Europe, I'm not an expert on Western Europe. But in the United States, even if we have a president who loves our country, all the other methods of control in our country have been taken over by people that hate it. Our media, our education institutes, or whatever you would want to call them, our companies, all Anything that matters for controlling a population has been taken over. And you may ask, how is this? That sounds ridiculous. How come those evil people took everything over? How did that happen? It sounds like it couldn't happen. To put it really simply, good people focus on themselves and their families and working hard, supporting their families, enjoying their own life. Miserable failures of people who hate other people focus on trying to gain power, to get into a company or a university and get rid of the people that disagree with them and hire more of the people that are like them. It's the same way an infection goes into a body. It multiplies while destroying the good cells. You get less good cells and more bad cells. And if the good cells don't decide to start actually fighting against it, it just spreads and spreads and spreads and spreads. And that's what's happened in the United States. And sadly, and I don't like to say this, I don't like to hear this, but it's reality, the United States is collapsing. It's on the brink of collapse. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to issue a formal declaration of dissolution of the United States, but you don't need to. A country can collapse without declaring that they've collapsed. If that country is no longer safe, you no longer have a reasonable ability to succeed, if that country wages war against its own citizens, it's safe to say that country has collapsed. And sadly, the United States has waged war against its own people. It is no longer safe, and it's pretty damn hard to be successful. Yes, it's possible. Certainly not anywhere close to what it was 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. People think that, Russia, the people there are poor, they have horrible lives. Actually, in Russia and Belarus, the average person lives like the average person in the United States. Not much of a difference. And it's only getting worse in the United States and only getting better in Russia and Belarus. That's the difference. Every day the United States gets worse. Every day Belarus and Russia gets better. Sad to see the United States get worse, but that's reality. Hopefully we can change it, but it's not looking like that's happening. A lot of people want it to change. However, those people that control the United States are very powerful. I'll leave it at that. I hope there's a United States for me to raise my family in. I love the United States. But I'm going to live in Belarus or Russia if it collapses. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Check out my other videos. Check out my Instagram, natural_true_fitness, because you can get in really good shape naturally. I've even competed in a non-drug testing bodybuilding competition, and I did really good. Doesn't mean I placed really good, but my actual muscle tissue compared to the other guys was really good. I came in a little bit too fat, and I had no idea. I know how to pose, but I sort of know how to pose, but I did a really bad job of posing. You couple my horrible posing with my slightly too high body fat, and I didn't score very well. But actual physique-wise, amazing. But if you do need advice on special supplements, or normal supplements, or training, or whatever, you can hire me for consultations, coaching, whatever. You can message me on my Instagram, natural_true_fitness, or you can go to my website, andrewhutchings.org. Also, I have a book on tendinitis. If you've got tendinitis, I recommend you get it ASAP. I can't say implement it ASAP because that would be medical advice. Get it ASAP. Regain your life. Stop living life in pain, because it's not really living and you never get that time back. A systematic guide to defeating tendinitis. Please like, subscribe, and comment.